What's up, YouTube? On this episode of Coddiwomple Overland, we're going to be going to the Jefferson Proving Grounds and checking out the eclipse.
We don't need a destination, let's go where the river's taking us.
We met up with Jimmy late on Saturday afternoon, and he wanted to show us a little bit around southern Indiana before we got to the main treat, and that was coming tomorrow. We spent the rest of the afternoon just tooling around a little loop that he had put together of back roads around southern Indiana. When you think of Indiana, you pretty much just think of flat and cornfields, and this section actually had some hills in it. Now don't get me wrong, there were plenty of cornfields too.
About 2 years ago, I was really considering buying this property on the left. It was for sale for like $2,000 an acre, but it's all flat and it just lays absolutely wet.
While it may take a little bit of research to do, virtually every county in every state in the eastern United States, you could put together a string of back roads and dirt roads just like this. Be fine!
So it's kind of steep, kind of weird.
Uh-huh.
There's a little bit of a hole right where the swirl is. Right,
Okay.
you can see right past the rocks.
Uh-huh.
Shouldn't be too bad at all. Go around that little pile. It's only kind of deep for 4 feet or so.
Okay.
But I don't know how your trailer's gonna, the back end, I don't know how it's gonna look.
Okay. So I'll video you driving through,
Yeah,
and we'll go from there.
sounds good.
All right. After watching Jimmy go through, I knew the mission wouldn't have any problems at all getting through behind the Gladiator. In addition to all the streams and creek crossings, there were several old structures like this one here, and that was going to kind of be the theme for the whole rest of the weekend. The further south we got, the closer we got to the Ohio River, and we started seeing a lot of different backwater, and we knew the river was going to be pretty big. There have been some pretty major storms along the eastern United States in the last few days, and the Ohio River catches the lion's share of that water. This one caught us by surprise. In all of our travels across the United States, we've never seen telephones nailed to trees.
That was plan B for tonight. Guess we better keep going.
Yeah, I don't think that'll work for plan B. Jimmy had picked out a couple different camping spots for us for the night, and this was plan B. I don't think we would have been able to do it here without a set of water wings. As we continued along these old dirt roads, we thought that just the gravel roads was going to be about it. And Jimmy had a little bit of a surprise for us. From here, things got a little bit rougher and a little bit more interesting. He said we were still on a county road, but this county road was not like any of the county roads that we have been on here before. While it was nothing that was super technical, it was definitely a little bit more challenging than anything we had been on so far. And we had found another telephone. Call somebody?
That's an old phone.
Looks like that one's seen its better days. You guys have probably seen Jimmy in this Dodge on our videos before. Jimmy has his own channel. Check out Bonsai Burger. It was getting later in the evening, the sun was starting to go down, and it was time for us to go set up camp. We woke up to another beautiful morning. We decided not to fix any breakfast at camp. Jimmy wanted to show us one of his favorite hometown places to grab some breakfast. He didn't steer us wrong. The omelets were delicious.
I don't know if you call this an Indiana breakfast.
After filling our bellies with breakfast, it was time to get on with the day. We had a full day of exploration. The next thing we knew, we were going through the old Jefferson Proving Grounds gates. It's currently known as the Big Oak Wildlife Preserve. The Proving Grounds was a bomb testing range from 1941 to 1995.
So this is what we refer to as the south end. It's everything south of the old firing line, which is going to be the fences to the north of us on the right side. But down here is where you'll see some of the officer housing, the old headquarters building, and all the buildings that did any kind of machine work or anything else that was going on. So quite a few of these houses were actually moved from up north on the property. Instead of being used as targets, they were deemed like too good to waste, so they actually moved the houses down here. Some of them were new builds, but there was quite a few that actually got moved.
As we made our way around the loop, it seemed like the perfect little Midwestern town. After making our way around the community and checking out some of the other buildings here, it was time to cross the tracks and make our way on down the road.
That big steel structure, that tower looking thing, they would hang a cloth in between those posts and shoot through it, and then that way they could tell if the rounds were like tracking straight.
It's like cruising around the set of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it is. I think the roads were better in that show, though.
This really did seem like something off of The Walking Dead. You could see off in the distance through the woods old buildings and things like that. There were abandoned trains and just a little bit of everything from years gone by. Another cool thing about this property is where there is trees, it was never logged. There are some incredibly huge trees on this property. Jim says this is one of the largest trees on the property and estimates it to be well over a couple hundred years old. By this point, we're inside the fence, and this is where all of the bombing took place. So is this all military built stuff here?
It is, yeah. It would have been a firing position.
There's still several original buildings on the property, and this is one that was never touched or bombed.
So this is Oakdale Schoolhouse, built 1867. It was one of the buildings on the property that was deemed historic enough to save, and it's been here in the control of the Army ever since. Just a one-room schoolhouse from southeast Indiana. 67. So that that goes back to the hearsay, could be true.
Original location and everything. Talking about taking a step back in time, the chalkboard still had the alphabet on it and the date of January 7th, 1940. Conventional bombs were not the only ones used here. There were some nuclear bombs tested. The area now is deemed safe. As we would drive through the woods, we would come out in these large clearing areas, and these were actually the bombing ranges. The more we continued to explore, the bridges and the surroundings just seemed like an area that time had forgotten. Walking around, Jimmy made sure that we knew to be mindful and watch where we were stepping. You never knew what you were going to see on the ground. All of these cylinder things that you see on the ground are bombs. The problem is you don't know which ones are live and which ones aren't.
For more than 200 species of birds, plus the 46 mammal species that are found in the refuge. Though the idea of the Big Oaks National Wildlife Refuge began in 1989 as part of the plans to gradually shut down a World War II-era munitions testing facility called the Jefferson Proving Ground, the refuge wasn't actually formed until the 21st century. In 2000, the refuge was officially designated on the land north of the Jefferson Proving Ground's historic firing line. Today, in the middle of the park, there are about 1,000 acres of land that remain the property of the Indiana Air National Guard.
These large cleared areas were bombing ranges, and somebody had the job to set in one of these bomb shelters right here and watch and see where the bombs landed, see if they exploded, and actually figure out where exactly they landed.
Glass, or is bulletproof glass, they could look out. There's actually a mirror set up in there, so it's a periscope, so that they can observe. There's definitely something living in here. If I scream like a girl, I don't want to hear about it later. Well, there's a bird's nest in here. Or like a box, a house.
Sure enough. That's crazy.
I honestly, I couldn't tell you. Between the 40s and the 90s, I'd say. Yeah, these are the ends of rounds.
Yeah, spent munitions all around.
Yeah.
How would you like to have this job? Now, in addition to all of the history on this property, there are some really beautiful areas, just like this creek that's cut itself through the stone.
Jimmy, it's not too cold.
That's true.
In addition to all the creeks and streams around here, there are also many beaver ponds.
Those rascals have been busy.
Rather than cutting the brush, they typically do controlled burns. And when they do this, you can see all of the old exploded ordnance just laying around the ground. Throughout the day, we continued to explore this beautiful piece of property. Out of all of the stops so far at JPG, our next stop was probably the coolest.
So this is Old Timbers Lodge. It was built by Alexander Thompson, 1930, I think, to 1932 is how long it took to build this lodge. And there's some more information when we get in the great room here. But so he had a paper mill in Cincinnati. This was his weekend getaway hunting lodge that he'd bring friends to. So this is the gun room over on this side. So when people would come here to hunt, you'd have a potbelly stove, keeping it warm, but everybody had their individual wall locker, gun storage, and hunting gear, whatever they needed. But yeah, so gun rack in there. Every bit of metal work on all the doors throughout the place was provided by the Berea College down in Kentucky, the blacksmith shop. So every piece is unique and individual, and all handmade. So it's pretty cool. You have to pay attention to all of the hardware on all the doors. I guess when they built this.
It's a wormy chestnut.
So they were already old.
Yeah.
Big old bushy block.
Sometimes it came like a lottery at some point.
To stay here and yeah.
The fuck was that? It's not our
It sounded
stuff.
like something exploded.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that was an explosion.
It was one of them poor deers. There's running through the...
So we talked about that last night, how every once in a while you hear like a gunshot or something in the distance. That wasn't a gunshot.
No.
That's something blew up.
Tannerite. That was just tannerite. Outside the fence.
I mean, we're not real far from the fence.
Yeah.
You weren't recording when that happened,
Yeah.
were you? You could probably hear it on that one. This is really neat.
So, this goes back to the hearsay. I believe it's true because I don't know any better. I don't even remember who I heard it from. I heard that this table here came out of a World War I era battleship. And that's why this seats swivel underneath, so make room and you don't have table or seats flying around. So I don't know if it's true, but I believe it.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I could see it.
There's been weirder things. You hear explosions
Right.
for random reasons.
Wow. After leaving that incredible lodge, Jimmy had one more bomb shelter that he wanted to show us. He says this is the most unique one on the property anywhere.
Yes, my guess. So I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure this is steel.
It looks like steel.
And I'm gonna say that's about 6 inches.
Yeah.
I don't know how you bend 6-inch plate steel.
Well, you can see when the paints were knocked off of it, it's rusty.
Yeah.
It's welded to. It's steel. Now, I'm not a bomb expert by any means, but I could only imagine that they were messing with the shapes of their bomb shelters to reduce percussion or something like that. If anybody has got any idea, we'd love to hear about it in the comments below.
I'm sure it's light.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure who Calvin is.
Right.
How many pounds of lead paint are in here? Another thing that Jimmy had saved for later in the day was the biggest bridge on the whole property. After a long day of exploring, it was now time for another adventure, watching Jimmy try to eat all of this burger.
How do you dissect and eat your burger when it's 20 stories tall? See, when they give you 2 buns up top, that's how you do it.
Well, you still can't pick that up in your mouth.
Oh, look at that. Well, that's a lot.
You have to separate.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to separate. I don't want to lose anything. There we go. There we go. Now we're cooking. So I think I ordered 3 burgers.
Maybe you should have saved the lettuce off of that and used it for a top bun.
Well, he can flip that one
Now
over.
you're getting complicated. Basically, burger number 3.
Yeah, you look like
Out of
you're
that
starting to
stack.
growl.
I mean, I'm thirsty, but I don't want to take up any space. But I do have to taste it. It's another burger.
You can't quit.
So it's 3 burgers, 3 steaks. There's another ribeye in there. 3 ribeyes. Bacon's been on every one of them. Yeah. There's no quit yet.
Yeah.
I just needed to take a little break.
Deep breath. We'll push it down.
That's right. That's right. Getting some breathing room. Just let it process.
The next morning, we got up and made our way to the Old Timbers Lake. This lake was built by the people who worked here as a place to recreate with them and their families. We were going to be using this amazing location as a place where we were going to be able to watch the total eclipse from. We got here in plenty of time to enjoy the lake. Aspen got a chance to enjoy the water, and he even got a chance to train Jimmy how to give him treats.
You got it all.
And that's why he's fat.
You got it all.
So here it is, Eclipse Day. We're out here at the old Jefferson Proving Grounds, also known as the Big Oaks Wildlife Refuge. The eclipse has started, and we're starting to capture some things now. We are about 5 or 10 minutes in, and we've got some pretty good photos started already. Yeah. One of the other things that we're doing is we just happen to be charging our Anchor C800 power station with their solar panel. Initially, when I set it up, we were getting about 168 watts of power into the power station. And now with the partial eclipse happening, we're down to about 130 watts. Sun's starting to go down. Aspen's ready to go take a nap.
You want one of these? He's gonna get one of his Bella Bakery treats first.
So that is not his bedtime snack.
Yeah. I know that's not what he wants. He wants them.
So we've heard about the pinhole box trick. I think pinhole box, something like that. So I grabbed my oatmeal box, took a pin, poked a little hole in it. And if you look at the shadow right there,
The crescent.
it's about halfway.
We're almost halfway through, or a little bit over halfway through the first phase of the eclipse. And when I checked and see how much solar power we're getting, right now we're getting about 38 watts now. So it's down substantially. We'll see how it goes as the eclipse continues. And Aspen is still ready for bed. By this point, the shadows were starting to blur a little bit, and you could begin to see the crescents in them. We used an eclipse timing app so that we could keep track of second for second everything that was happening.
Getting closer, we're within minutes. You can see that crescent. There is not much left of it.
Check the temperature on the solar panel. We've dropped 22 degrees Celsius, and when I looked at the charge rate from the solar panel, we are now collecting 0 watts of solar.
90 seconds. Observe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Glasses off. Glasses off.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. Wow.
Got it.
Give us a ring.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Observe the horizon.
Wow.
3, 2, 1. Glasses
There's
on.
the diamond.
Glasses on.
Yep.
Glasses on. Plus 10 seconds. Plus 15. Replace camera filters.
This was definitely one of the coolest things that any of us had ever seen, and it was the first time that we had ever seen a total eclipse. We got some good video of it. I feel like for a very rookie photographer, we got some pretty good pictures as well. We really enjoyed our time here and really enjoyed our time watching this eclipse. It was nothing short of amazing. All right, so what'd you guys think?
That was cool.
Way better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
You know, I knew it was going to be cool, but that was really neat.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was
Aspen's still freaked out.
right.
Yeah, he still can't figure it out.
Well, I'm really glad we decided to
do this.
To do this.
I can't believe how dark it is.
I want to send a special thank you out to Jimmy for showing us around this amazing property. Be sure and check out Bonsai Burger YouTube channel. I would also like to thank Jefferson Proving Grounds and the Big Oak Wildlife Refuge for allowing us to come up here and explore for the couple days that we were here. We hope you've enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed doing it. Until next time, see ya.